aka Padders. We are here. Welcome to my podcast. This is where we get into the nitty gritty with movies, okay? Now, this isn't your typical movie discussion, review, critic type podcast because I I spent my life. I spent my life listening to other critics. And eventually, when social media became relevant, it washed away critical film thinking because everything became a byline, a tagline, clickbait, all that nice stuff. Okay, film criticism went away. Right here, right now, episode 365. And thank you for joining me. We Can Be Heroes, directed and written and produced by Robert Rodrigues. Now, there's also a racer Rodrigues in the credits. We don't know who that is. We don't care. We only care about Robert Rodrigues. So join me because we're talking everything Netflix. We're talking Netflix superheroes. This is our 2 of 3 back to back to back Netflix superhero flicks. We're right smack in the middle. We're talking all of these things for episode 365 of AKAPAD's Audio Audacity. What a nice, bright, sunny Philadelphia day. But thank you for joining me. It's Tuesday. It's mid-afternoon. I literally, all morning, I've been slaving over another giant splash page for Trial by Fire on Indiegogo right now. This is my comic. This is 24 plus years in the making. I'm adding so much about the process, everything about this comic book to my website, akapad.com. If you want to support me and you don't want to spend money, okay, I get that. You can go to akapad.com, sign up for my free newsletter. The newsletter, once it starts rolling out, is going to bring you into all my other like projects, ideas, methodologies. There's going to be opportunities there for you. And there's also going to be like print media deals, sample, like all that stuff, okay? Sign up, you get a free trading card. I just need your address, and we're ready to rock and roll. So let's get into this. Now, this movie I completely love. It hurts me that there's not like a cry to make a immediate follow-up and to maybe even expand this universe into the printed form. Now, Hollywood for a very, very long time has been trying to one-up the comic book source material by creating superheroes of their own. Now, this goes back to Darkman, Sam Raimi. This goes back to Black Scorpion, a Fox TV show. I'm pretty sure it was a Fox TV show. Yeah, African American superhero, amazing freaking show. I believe the guy was crippled in that too, but he's like a Tony Stark. He's amazing. Okay, love that show. I think no, Black Mantis, Black Scorpion. Right? Is no, it's Mantis. Then there's Black Scorpion, the Roger Corman, syndicated superhero. And then we have movies like Jumper. We have movies like Push. We have, in this vein, we have almost like the family superhero front, which, We Can Be Heroes. There's Zoom with Tim Allen, which is amazing. And then there's the one with Kurt Russell. I think Superhero High. Now, Superhero High, Zoom, and We Can Be Heroes work together as a amazing fun trilogy. I mean, trilogy of movies to watch. They're not connected. So Hollywood's like wants to do superheroes. They want their own superheroes. And when I say Hollywood, I just mean filmmakers. But they don't want to go through the process of like making the comic, having the comics sit relatively in culture, people's minds, bookshelves, comic book shops, and bookstores for 60 plus years. Like, meaning like characters like Captain America take a long time to soak and gestate and to grow. Sometimes unsuccessfully. I will say when it comes to that level of success, something like the X-Men has been nothing but success. I would say even at one time I wouldn't even make this argument, but Fantastic Four, like endless success. It's hard to say the same for Captain America and Superman. It really is. Not endless success when it comes to month to month to month storytelling. So what's the DNA of this movie? What makes this movie so great? Well, how about this? It's not serious. It's a kids movie you can watch. It's a affirmation on teamwork and how children can have teamwork and parents cannot. Grown-ups cannot. Grown-ups are the unstructured swines of this world. If we can just listen to one another, if we can be more patient with one another, we can be heroes answers that question. It tells you what can happen. When we bicker and when we argue with one another, the aliens take over the world, which is the beginning of this movie. Now, we have like fun powers. We have, like somewhat, like a cloak and dagger, because, there's an alien in the mist type thing. And then we have parents discovering their children and children rediscovering their parents. Now, along the way, we have all these cool powers. There's a stretchy kid. Great sequence too with like a flying train. They whip a train like miles into the air. They're able to fly and keep afloat because one girl through singing can like guide the ship. So it's really cool stuff. It's just the ridiculous side and the fun side of powers. Now, I kind of said when Grant, I'm going to go in a little bit of a tangent here. When someone like Grant Morrison, post X-Men movies, he takes over X-Men. They call it New X-Men. He Black Leather comes in, the colored costumes go out, and he kind of introduces this like idea that like anything is a mutant. We call it a mutant. Here's a guy with a bird head, like like a chicken head guy. That took away the cool factor when it comes to what the X-Men were, and in all, like mutants and superpowers. We Can Be Heroes, like almost like dials it back. Like it gets to the point that it's not taking itself seriously. It's not taking itself literal. Grant Morrison with that chicken head guy that he put into New X-Men takes it too seriously. You take the idea too far. This is where any superhero idea breaks. People like they either don't go far enough or they don't go far at all. And they're in like this weird like nether realm, this membrane, this middle zone that is quite boring. It's not very interesting. Now, on the surface, there's not much interesting with We Can Be Heroes, but that's not its intent. The intent is to go from scene to scene, actor to actor, plot point to plot point, and to bring you along. And then along the way, we have a collection of awesome adult superheroes. We have a great villain who is sexy AF. And then we have these kids, which, again, one of these kids is supposed to have powers. She doesn't have powers. We know she's going to get the powers. We know she's going to help save the day. And it's all of these things we see a mile coming, but it's fun. Here we go, people. FUN. I'm sorry, not a lot of these superhero movies can be fun anymore, I guess. This movie swings for the fences and hits it over the park. Now, we do kind of have to mention, okay, and go into, let me see what are we doing here? Here we go. My computer, my mouse was I couldn't see my mouse cursor. So, look, we got to go into the career of Robert Rodrigues real quick, because to me, here's odd argument. He potentially is the real Quinten Tarantino. And the Quinten Tarantino we saw and we fell in love with was just, potentially different, potentially a imposter. Because we kind of have to be honest when it comes to Quinten Tarantino. We want the Quinten Tarantino from Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. I just watched Reservoir Dogs recently. couple days ago because I watch that movie maybe once a year. I don't know if that's even true. I watch it. Yeah, I try and watch it a lot. So Quentin Tarantino comes on the scene. He gets this attention of this independent guy that came from a movie shop, like the Kevin Smith thing. And we know, we kind of know it's just silly and BS. Now, that doesn't mean parts of it aren't true, but it's just silly and BS. And then you hear about Robert Rodrigues, and the two of them in 95, they did this movie that was like a Miramax showcase of the next generation. It was called Four Rooms. Stars Tim Roth as the bellboy, bellhop. This is an amazing movie. It really is. Okay? During that time, he kind of put out this book. It was called Shooting from the Hip, I think, a rebel's diary to guerrilla filmmaking. And he tells this story that is so much better than anything coming from the realm of Tarantino. Tarantino is kind of like, I may have had a weird mom. Like my mom may have been shit. Maybe. But I know she loved me. And I'm just paraphrasing here. I could be wrong. But so that's a little of the Tarantino lore, is the relationship with him and his mother. Robert Rodrigues literally puts himself through experiments to get money to make the 92 masterpiece El Mariachi. Like El Mariachi versus Reservoir Dogs, it's neck and neck. It's Brady and Peyton Manning. It's Dan Marino and Joe Montana. It's right there, okay? Karl Malone, Michael Jordan. I can keep going. So he remakes that movie 3 years later. And you really have to read this book, the Shooting from the Hip. I also, I should have done a little bit. Rebel Without a Crew. I just remembered it. Rebel Without a Crew. That's the name of his book. Read that book. But during this book, too, he talks about Barfly. That's how I learned about that movie. That movie made me learn about Charles Bukowski. I became a Bukowski guy after that. But he remakes the same movie. He remakes El Mariachi, makes Desperado. James Cameron did the same exact thing with Terminator and Terminator 2. A lot of these guys remake their own movie once they get the resources, and they kind of spin it. They kind of spin it into a sequel. And then he becomes the Miramax guy. So him and Tarantino collaborate in 96 from Dusk Till Dawn. There's a documentary on that. It might be called Full Tilt Boogie. You gotta watch that documentary. From Dusk Till Dawn right now is a legit film franchise. Okay, it's almost like its own shared universe. I think it's got 4 movies and a TV show. And then he does his company movie, written by Kevin Williamson from Scream. So it's a good script, hot screenwriter, called The Faculty. Character designed by Bernie Wrightson, legend. For some reason, The Faculty and what also got drugged down by The Faculty, Phantoms, no one wanted to deal with. Both of those movies are great. Both of them are commendable. And then he goes off. You don't know what he's doing. But he makes Spy Kids. For the next 3 years, 2001 to 2003, he makes Spy Kids 2, and Spy Kids 3D. And then he makes the final installment of El Mariachi, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, which I ran to see that in the theater. Ran to the theater. I just remember hating it because it got like a blind Johnny Depp. I may have seen that movie one time. It's due for a follow-up, trust me. And then in 2005, he comes back and shows us who he is. He makes Sin City, the true green screen masterpiece. People want to go to Sky Captain, World of Tomorrow. I may have seen that movie one time. It's a good, fun movie. And it's got Jude Law, and it's got Angelina Jolie. The guy that made it, I'm not sure if he did anything after that. So, I would say those are your top. Sin City, Sky Captain, and 300 are your top three green screen movies ever made. Then he goes back into this well, like movies for his children. He makes The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Now, I had a girlfriend at the time when this movie came out. And my girlfriend's kid absolutely loved the movie. It might have been the first movie that her and I saw together. Like, I took her to, and we went to McDonald's. We got the Happy Meal toys. Fantastic day. And he collaborates with Tarantino and Miramax and Weinstein again. Plane of Terror, Grindhouse. What I absolutely, his installment for Plane of Terror, or the Grindhouse, which was Plane of Terror. Quentin Tarantino did the car one. I'm forgetting the name of the Death Proof. Death Proof confused and disappointed nearly everyone. Plane of Terror is really what people wanted from Quentin Tarantino when it comes to Grindhouse. Grindhouse was two full-length movies as one giant movie with all of these amazing trailers throughout, okay? Because it was to simulate the experience of watching these movies all day in the theater. It's an amazing project. It's an amazing thing to get into theaters. The girlfriend's kid that I took to see Shark Boy, we broke up kind of right when right when Grindhouse came out in 2007, and it was a really weird time in my life. But I might have seen Grindhouse 3 times in the theater, and I still absolutely loved the Rob Zombie trailer in that, and I love the Eli Roth Thanksgiving trailer in that. So, during this too, Robert Rodriguez puts his own trailer in Grindhouse called Machete. Machete kind of gets traction in 2010, 3 years later. Well, you got to consider, you got to make the movie. So, there's a year in that. So, in relatively short time, he makes Machete. And then he comes out, Machete's a hit. Then he does a 4th Spy Kids movie. Which, I think Stallone's the villain in that. I may have seen that one time. I don't like the Spy Kids universe. For it to be relevant and to look back, for it to be something, needs to continue. So, even today, there should always be a Spy Kids digest book, an animated series. It needs to be out there. It needs to be constantly published. Let it be a money and a resource drain. Because he made this capital investment to put Spy Kids in the minds of a lot of people. He's not really accessing it. And I know he's a guy of means to do it. So 2013, 2 years after that, he does Machete Kills. I believe that was Lady Gaga's first big screen movie. She's in that. Awesome. Machete Kills is great. They tease Machete in space, which I'm still waiting for. And then here we go, 2014. Okay, it's 9 years too late. 8-9 years too late. He does Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, which perfectly fits within the original Sin City. I mean, I don't know why there's not he doesn't put out a super cut of that movie, because that's really what's designed. Now, one was made by Miramax, Disney, pretty much, and one was made by the Weinstein Company. Probably never happened, right? The different companies put out that movie. Different companies own the rights to it. But people do lowball A Dame to Kill For. It perfectly works within the realm of Sin City. It can be edited into that movie. To me, it's seamless. To me, I love them both. I think that I say the same for 300 and 300 Fall of the Empire. Those two movies work perfectly. Whatever reason, no one was having Sin City. And then in 2019, we have a movie that gets caught up in the SJW Twitter madness, because for some reason it becomes I have an episode on this. It becomes the poster child of this is what we want. and it was a pushback against Captain Marvel that a huge segment of the populace, like the film going populace, I'll say, the Marvel cinematic, the MCUers, we'll call them the MCUers, they wanted something else. They didn't want Captain Marvel. They felt Captain Marvel was being wedged for identity politic reasons. This is important just to understand it. Okay, I'm not making any baseline statement. I'm just explaining to you why people felt a certain way, what were the position, and it is important to the how the film was received, and even now. So, Alita: Battle Angel, the movie he collaborates with James Cameron for, a property James Cameron was, I would say, 15, maybe even 20 years held close to his heart. Tried to he worked on this movie for 20 something years. Rodrigues comes in, simplifies the script. I think he shortens it, adds a whole new element, and then they roll in. I believe it was Weta. It might have been Weta or Lightstorm. I'm not sure if James Cameron's Lightstorm Entertainment's still around, but the special effects are mind blowing. And Alita: Battle Angel became this idea of, this is what we want. We don't want Captain Marvel. We want this. Okay, we want something of substantial female character that can stand on her own, that we're not getting wedged down our throats. Alita: Battle Angel to this day is growing as a cult movie. It's growing attention, it's gaining attention. People are crying, they're howling at the moon for a follow-up, for a sequel. A lot of it, though, is to prove that they're right. Which is maybe the wrong reasons, but it's got one of my favorite endings. I think it's one of the best cyberpunk movies that will ever be made. I think it's the best anime manga interpretations onto live action until we get the Akira movie. We have to be honest, but Battle Angel, if you can watch Blade Runner, Battle Angel, and Ghost in the Shell back to back to back, and you have an effing great time. Your eyeballs are going to do a lot of action. And then in 2020, we have We Can Be Heroes, which 55 million something household views, a huge impact on Netflix. They're developing a sequel, and it's well deserved. But I just felt like it helps you to, when you understand a little bit more about the filmmaker, it does help you see the movie in a different way. And I'll do this. Rain on Me, Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, he did direct their video, so shout out there. So look, everyone, go watch this movie. Next episode 366, we have Thunder Force, and here we go. Stop me if you heard this. Everyone hates Thunder Force. So there we go. We got to talk about it. 366. Now, along this whole thing, we got Godzilla, Kong Godzilla, and we have Mortal Kombat 2021. Trust me, people, when we're done with this Netflix stuff, we're getting into both of those, and we will be getting into Zack Snyder Justice League. Okay, everyone, thanks for hanging out. I love you. Trial by Fire, Indiegogo. Sign up for a free trading card. Get the newsletter at akapad.com. Let's do it.